Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are diving into a truly paradigm-shifting explainer. We're looking at ACIM, Lesson 90, which is a review of Lessons 79 and 80. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by the sheer number of problems in your life, or if you feel like solutions are always frustratingly out of reach, you are going to absolutely love what we uncover today. We're going to explore some ideas that completely flip our everyday assumptions about stress, conflict, and time right on their head.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll be covering the core lessons, the problem defined, the solution defined, the time illusion, and finally, the daily application. Quick and easy.
So, starting with Section 1, the core lessons, where we are reviewing 79 and 80. Today's text brings together two absolutely foundational statements designed to completely change our daily lives. Here they are. Lesson 79, let me recognize the problem so it can be solved. And Lesson 80, let me recognize my problems have been solved. Now, I know what you're thinking. When you hear those together, they kind of sound a bit contradictory at first, right? I mean, we have to recognize a problem to solve it, but our problems are already solved. Well, as we unpack this text, you're going to see how these two ideas actually lock together perfectly to create a massive shift in how we experience our day-to-day lives.
Moving right along to Section 2, the problem defined, and asking, what exactly is a grievance? Let's break down Lesson 79 by answering this really basic question.
We usually think a problem is, say, a flat tire, a difficult coworker, or maybe a past due bill. But the source text gives us a radically different definition. It says the problem is literally always just some form of a grievance that we choose to cherish. A grievance is simply holding on to resentment, anger, or stubbornly resisting reality. We walk around thinking we have 100 different external problems. But actually, scratch that. This text argues we really only have one internal problem, our own willingness to hold on to a grievance. When you strip away all the messy external details of any stressful situation, the root pain is just us clutching onto anger. That is the only real problem.
Which brings us to Section 3, the solution defined, looking at the simplicity of a miracle. Because think about it, if there's only one real problem, the grievance, then logically, there only needs to be one real solution.
And the text calls this singular solution a miracle. Now let's totally demystify that word for our explainer today. In this context, a miracle isn't parting the sea or water turning into wine. A miracle is just a profound shift in perception driven by an act of forgiveness. You let go of the grievance, you forgive the situation or the person, and bam, your perception shifts. That inner shift from resentment to peace, that is the miracle. It literally takes the place of the grievance.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core message of simplicity in today's review. Look at how this balances out. The problem is a grievance. The solution is a miracle. That is it, the whole shebang. It's an incredibly efficient way to live. You don't need 1,000 complex strategies for 1,000 different problems. You literally just need to recognize the grievance and invite the solution by forgiving it and welcoming that shift in perception.
All right, Section 4, the time illusion, or how we are misusing our perception of time. Let's transition over to Lesson 80 now. Because if we accept that the solution is just a shift in perception, why on earth do we constantly wait for our problems to end?
Well, it's because we operate under a massive illusion. We humans naturally operate on this linear timeline. Step 1, a problem pops up right now. Step 2, time has to pass, right? Maybe days or weeks of stressing out and worrying. And Step 3, eventually, hopefully, a solution is found sometime in the future. We deeply believe that the problem and the answer are separated by this big gap of time. We think time just has to pass before things can be worked out.
But the text completely shatters this assumption. It states that God, or the ultimate reality of the universe, places the answer together with the problem simultaneously, like at the exact same millisecond. They cannot be separated by time. The text notes that the Holy Spirit will teach us this if we just let Him. Basically, it's flat out impossible for you to have a problem that hasn't already been solved the very second it appeared. That miraculous shift in perception is available instantly. The only reason we suffer is because we misuse time by insisting that we have to wait.
So, moving to Section 5, the daily application, let's put this review into practice. The crucial point here is, how do we actually use this stuff today? Theory is great, but the true game changer comes from real-world application.
The text actually gives us very specific phrases to use when you feel yourself getting stressed or angry. For Lesson 79, when you feel a grievance bubbling up, pause and say,
This presents a problem to me which I would have resolved. Or, the miracle behind this grievance will resolve it for me. And my absolute favorite, the answer to this problem is the miracle which it conceals. By saying these out loud, or even just in your head, you're actively choosing to look right past your anger and invite that shift.
Now for lesson 80. When you're feeling impatient or panicking about the future, try these affirmations. I need not wait for this to be resolved. Or, the answer to this problem is already given me if I will accept it. And finally, time cannot separate this problem from its solution. You're essentially reminding yourself that you don't have to suffer through some agonizing time gap. Peace is available right in this very second.
Which brings up a super practical question for anyone trying to actually learn this. How often should we be practicing these affirmations today to really make them stick? Like, do we just read them once with our morning coffee and hope for the best?
No way! The text is crystal clear on this. You need to practice this continuously throughout the day. The whole goal is to use these exact thoughts whenever a specific problem or grievance arises. This isn't just a scheduled one-time meditation. It's a dynamic, on-the-spot tool. The second you feel your blood pressure spike at a red light or you read a super frustrating email, you apply the idea right then and there. It's a continuous, all-day habit of catching those grievances and swapping them out for miracles.
Let's cement our core statements in our minds one last time before we wrap up this explainer. Lesson 79. Let me recognize the problem so it can be solved. We have to recognize that grievance. And lesson 80. Let me recognize my problems have been solved. Just totally accept that the miracle, the shift in perception, is already here, completely unhindered by time.
Just imagine walking through your entire day completely free of grievances, knowing the solution arrives the exact milliseconds the problem does. I mean, that is an incredibly empowering way to live. So your next step is to apply these thoughts continuously to specific problems as they pop up today. Really try it out and watch how your perception shifts. Before you go, ask yourself, what incredible miracle is hiding just behind your biggest grievance right now? If you found this breakdown helpful and want to keep your daily peace and understanding intact with more explainers like this, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.